Welcome everyone. Today we have some very exciting findings to share with everyone. And over here we're looking at a simulation of about 40 billion Excel of the Tier 3 homing guide. And we'll be looking at those numbers and how does this help us. So over here we have some notes about this new finding and also new result. And how does this help us? How can we expect to spend about 200,000 or 300,000 gold from going from plus 13 to plus 15? We'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about different methods of saving materials and also gold into homing into Tier 3. And of course, I'll show you guys some of my personal fails and dramatically bad rates going for plus 15. And oh boy guys, just to get my weapon to plus 15, it cost me close to 100,000 gold. And I really want to make this video to warn you guys and to teach you all the methods and also tricks I have discovered as I start to home my items, because it is crazy and you need to be aware of this. Now it is very important that you watch the second part of the video as well. So after seeing the cost, I want to share you guys a method that instead of spending 300,000 gold, you might only have to spend 200,000 gold on my server to get from 13 to 15. So there's a big disparity, and the method used over here, I want to share with you guys what I'm doing and what are my plans. So it's quite important to watch the second part as well. Now to start the video off, I think it might be helpful to show you guys my replays of me homing my weapon to plus 15 and also attempting my armor. And just be aware, this clip might dramatically traumatize you into homing, because I was traumatized when I did this. So one thing to show you is I have been trying to attempt weapon homing, and I've been trying to use all the rate up mats I have which are untradeable. I have been collecting them for the past 2 weeks, and notice that I also got into impulse buying. I was buying materials to upgrade because I keep failing the weapon. I'll have the full clip of this one if you guys are interested in watching this. I'll make this available on YouTube as well for you guys to see. So this is a 10-minute long homing of failing and also dramatic pain, and I just want to show you guys how many attempts it took me to get this weapon. So over here what you're gonna see is it took me 10 tries with rate up materials to get a weapon from plus 14 to 15. And yes guys, I was ridiculously unlucky. By probability, only 2% of players will get to how unlucky I am, and you know, I'm really unlucky for this one, and it cost me over 100,000 gold. But I want to warn you guys is that this is what's going to be expected, and this is what is going to happen with Tier 3 homing when you get to the end stage of plus 14 to 15. And for free-to-play players, those material doesn't come easily. Notice I'm left with, like 50 or, of those items when I started with 200 of those. I have been saving those items for 2 weeks now, and 100,000 gold disappeared. So I really want to make this video to share with you guys, to give you additional stats, additional information to help you with homing, and also to mentally and also physically prepare what is to come. So what we're going to do is we have another lovely Excel from our viewer who is amazing with Excel. So big shout out and big thank you to Chaliia on Discord for sharing this one to me. I'll go through the simulation of the Excel. He used about 40 billion simulations of Tier 3 upgrades, and there's a lot of interesting stats, and there's a lot of visualization, a lot of things you want to have a look, which can be really helpful. So let's go through this one together with the notes over here. Now, if you guys want a copy of my notes or the Excel, I'll have those one available for you guys. But it's important for you to understand what is happening. So the first question is, let me zoom this a little bit bigger for you. So what are the expected attempts? So the expected attempts that is shown in the Excel, which, billions of simulations, what the expected attempts is, he will be using the base rates from the game and also the bonus 10% rate each time you fail. And also considering the Artisan's energy. So once you fail many times enough, you get 100% rate up. So he will be using all of those rates to calculate how many times on average, if your luck is average. So let's say we have average luck. How many attempts do you need to go from plus 7 to plus 8, plus 8 to plus 9, and finally plus 14 to plus 15? This will help us to prepare for the materials that are needed, because most of us have average luck, unless you're like me and you're super unlucky. So this shows how many times you expected to fail at different stages and how many attempts you will need for different items. I made a quick summary over here for you guys, and this will also mentally prepare us for the worst. Because, if you look at, from going 14 to 15, you expect to fail 7 times on your weapon, or expect to, take 7 times on your weapon. You expect to take 33 tries on the homing gears to get all the armors to plus 15. So, plus 11 to plus 14, those 3 levels, you expect to try 72 times. So it's really important for us to know the rates and know what to be expected. And this is one of the reasons after doing a quick estimate, you expect it to cost 200,000 to 300,000 gold to get plus 13 to plus 15. Those are the rates on my server, but if you have different rates on your server, so those are the rates over here on my server, right? If your price is different, maybe it's much cheaper for you on your server, which is definitely a plus. Now, coming over to the Excel Chaliia has made, which is amazing. So he used about 40 billion of simulations. And over here, there's some really interesting numbers. If our luck is average, to go from plus 6 to plus 15, it will take 146 attempts. So this means you fail quite often. And I have broken them down over here. I'll show you guys very soon. I just want to show you what's the highlight of Excel. If you're really unlucky like me, I'm hitting close to 200 fails by my estimation. So this is the unlucky player. This is the most lucky player, right? So we are usually in the middle. What do you want to see on Excel? So the next page is the simulated rates, which are billions of simulations. So what you want to see is this shows you how many times you're expected to attempt to succeed from plus 6 to plus 7. The rates are the same for weapons and also for armors. So this will give you a mental preparation that, how many times you expected to fail, how many times it will take you to succeed. So those are two important values over here. And the base rate of success is 60% for 6 to 7. But our friend here also added the rate which is adjusting to the Artisan's energy and also the bonus rate each time you fail. So what I mean by that is he has adjusted to those two. By adjusting to those two, those are more reflective numbers and also more accurate. Now the rates doesn't look that bad from 6 to 7. And then 7 to 8, it goes to 45% base rate. And notice that you expected to attempt 2 times per item now. And then from 8 to 9, you expect to attempt 3 times and fail 2 times per item. And then from 11 to 12, you expect to attempt 5 times, and 12 to 14 and etc. And finally, from level 14 to level 15, you expect to try 7 times in homing and fail 6 times. And those are the percentage of players in different allocation. And guess what, guys? I'm like over here, I am super unlucky with my plus 15 weapon homing, and it actually cost me way much more because I used the radar materials. The Excel over here doesn't use the radar materials, and those are by determination the cheapest method of homing. But of course, we'll have radar materials. So on the second part of this video, we'll talk about saving gold while we have the radar materials. Because I'm using radar materials, and I'll show you guys my method, how I use the radar materials. But it's important to understand those numbers because I'll show you guys what to expect with tier 3 homing. Now, coming from the values of the Excel, I have made some quick summaries to give you guys, more summary approach to the Excel. So basically, what we're looking at is the Excel is telling us a lot of us, 7.5% of players or 6% of players are going to hit the pity, which means you fail so many times that you expected to get 100% upgrade on your next one. I have hit this twice pretty much, and this is very painful because it costs so much. For plus 15 weapon, it actually cost me about 100,000 gold with all the materials I saved for 2 weeks. So here are the numbers and what you expect. If you're going from plus 6 to 7, the weapon homing will take you about 1.6 attempts. The armor homing will take 9 attempts for 5 armors. And those are the rates for plus 7 to 8, 8 to 11. Because 8 to 11, there's going to be 3 levels between, right? So 8 to 11, you expect to spend about 42 tries onto 5 armors with 14 attempts per level. Now again, this does not consider that if you're using radar materials. So if you're using radar materials and you're using all the radar materials, you can halve those attempts. So instead of 42, you can be looking at 21 attempts. But that's still a lot of attempts, and it is so much more costly if you use radar materials. Now, if you guys haven't seen our previous Excel value comparison, so basically, if I give you guys an example, if I'm looking at armor, I'm going for plus 11. Definitely check out this video if you haven't seen it. The guide is available online, and definitely check it over here. I should have the link available for you guys as well. So if I'm going for armor for plus 11, if I don't use the radar materials and supply my own lipstones and honor shard, it costs me 4,000 gold to be expected. But if I buy my lipstones, it will cost me 10,000 gold. But if I start to use the radar materials, to be expected, my success rate is higher, but the cost of those items is also higher. So it actually costs me more if I use radar materials. And on the second part, I'll share you guys why I never use radar materials for my armor upgrade. I use all the radars for the weapon because there's so much more saving if you use on the weapon. Now, as we keep going with the rates, you can see plus 11 to plus 14, you expect to attempt 72 times on the armors. And this is where I'm currently staged in the game. So I'm at 13 and also 14. I have gotten my weapon to plus 15. And oh boy, this one cost me 100,000 gold. It's no joke, guys. You can see the replay. I'll have the replay attached for you guys. So this is a lot of attempts. And just by estimation, guys, if you have your own supply of lipstones and honor shard, so what I mean by that is if your lipstones over here and honor shard are untradeable and you have been collecting a lot of them, even if you have supplied those, the only item you're using is going to be guardian stones or the red destruction stones, it will cost you close to 200,000 or 300,000 gold just going from 13 to plus 15. And this is using attempts over here and a small estimation. I want to mentally prepare you guys because, we can say the game is not player friendly, the game is very pay to win, but you want to know what's going to cost you and prepare those items so you don't get stuck at plus 13 and just find the game very daunting, or you don't get stuck at plus 14 and just like me, just lose 100,000 gold, right? So you want to be mentally prepared, and then we'll talk about how to save on cost using different items. Now, if you have seen our previous Excel, you would have noticed that in this Excel, it is much more cheaper and recommended to use retail materials for the weapons. So what I did with my attempt is, since level 9, I have been using retail materials as many as I can for my weapons, which are untradeable. So as my weapon goes to plus 15, I'll be using those retail materials. But, in the replay, you can see even with untradeable retail materials I saved for 2 weeks, that wasn't enough for just weapons. So also, if you look at the armor, the cost is so much higher if you use retail materials. And that's why I stick to this cost. And even that is a lot, because this is, one attempt, right? So basically, this is the expected cost for one armor to get to plus 15. But you times this by 5 because you have 5 pieces. So just to get armor from 14 to 15 for 5 pieces, you're looking at 90,000 gold at the current market rate. So this is why on the next few videos, I do want to make a detailed guide on the best method of using retail materials, when to use them and also why to use them. And as for now, I'll come over to the second part as to some of the tips in saving gold as you home for tier 3. So one thing to notice is as I keep failing, guys, what's going to happen is I'm going to run out of materials because I didn't expect to fail this many times, right? So I have failed multiple times and I run out of materials. And as human impulse and also this gambling kind of sense kicks in, you just want to succeed. You don't want to finish the day with a fail. So what's going to happen is you might be going onto the market like me, and you might be start to buy the materials. And as you buy them, as you fail, so how much gold did I start the day off with? So now let me try to show you guys how much gold I started. I started the day with 240, about 236,000 gold. And as I keep buying, so what's going to happen is I'm going to end the day with about, I think I ended the day with much less gold. I spent about 30,000 gold just by buying materials. So as you can see, I keep failing, I keep buying those materials. So while my first tip to you guys is, the first 2 tips is that you got to be aware of impulse buying, because if you start to fail, then you might go into the market and start to buy those materials, especially if you have the homing stones ready. So here I usually have enough of the honor lipstone, but I may not have this enough. This doesn't cost much, but the stones themselves will cost a lot. So in that sense, if you are preparing to home, what I do recommend is find a time when the price of the item is low, because we can't help ourselves to buy items from the market because we just want to succeed if we get unlucky. And also try to prepare enough materials so on average you're looking at a success. What I mean by that is, if I'm trying to go from plus 14 to plus 15, notice that this is going to be a fresh upgrade, so it's at 10%. So if I'm doing that, for each of the armors, I should be preparing for 7 attempts of materials that is needed. So instead of just having, materials for 1 attempt over here, I should have this 7 times. So all the materials should be 7 times prepared. And in that sense, this will better help me to not impulsively spend onto the market if I fail. So let's say if I click this and I fail because it's only 10%, right? So I'll be doing this like 7 times at least. And if I have enough materials, I won't be impulsively buying. Because if you look at in that video, I've been impulsively buying. As I fail, I buy. And as I fail, I buy. And before I know it, I spent 30,000 gold just buying those materials. And this is one of the first things you want to prepare. You want to mentally prepare for the fails. Because if the market rate is really high and you don't have enough materials, Before you know it, you spend all your hard saved gold into just a rush buy, try to get a succeed. And notice I'm doing this so quickly, and I do not succeed. The more I don't succeed, the more I spend. That's how I spend 100,000 gold in terms of materials and also buying those. Now, one of the questions I often get is it okay if I spend my rate ups and also materials and also gold to get to 1,340? My answer is yes, because this opens up more content. This opens up the Abus dungeon for the weekly. This opens up for the purple drops for the chaos dungeon. But there's no need to rush once you get to 1,340. You should be saving the materials as the attempts over here expected, and you should be preparing as much as you can. You can consider, keeping your materials or selling them when the price is high, or buying them when the price is low. Don't rush to 1,355 because the bonus loot from the chaos dungeon for the next level is very low. This doesn't open anything. So stay on 1,340, try to save at least 200,000 gold maybe, or 100,000 if you have a different server. Try to save enough gold so you have a greater chance of collecting materials and pushing yourself to the higher tier in one go, or maybe in 2 goes. So instead of taking steps and spending too much time on the basics instead of saving up your gold, you want to save up some gold, maybe consider trading, which I'll have more trading guide, and also collect more gold because it will cost a lot. Now, finally, because I showed you guys the raids, the bonus, Excel simulations and the attempts needed, I want to share with you guys my method of homing. This by far is the cheapest method, and I want to make a detailed video on this once I have succeeded with everything. So notice currently I'm on 14, I'm on 13. So once I have succeeded with everything to plus 15, I'll make a detailed video. But just to share you guys briefly what I do at the moment, from plus 9 to plus 15 for weapons, I use all untradeable retail materials. So what that means is, if you go in here, I'll be using all the materials I have over here, I'll be using them. Notice at this moment, I don't have any untradeable ones. The tradable points, I don't usually use them because I actually sell them for profit. So all the ones you see here are untradeable ones. And it's important to know the untradeable ones you have and to use those first. I don't use the tradable ones unless I really have to. And as for armor, from plus 6 to plus 13, I do not use any retail materials, and I basically just go them straight ahead. And this is why, as you can see in this replay, when I get to armor, I will fail multiple times, and I'll fail multiple times. And as you can see here with armor, I will fail multiple times because I don't use retail materials by the time I get to plus 13. Now, I am changing my method of homing by the time I get to plus 13 to 14 and also 14 to 15. This is the reason is I have gotten my weapon to plus 15 and I have spare untradeable materials that are left over. And I want to share this kind of detailed guide with you guys very soon because from 13 to 14, I'm actually thinking of using a new method. So those are the method to plus 15 for weapon and also plus 13 for armor. This is by far the cheapest method I have discovered with Excel and also with the simulations. And later, for the leftover untradeable ones, I will be planning to share a new method, which I will be selectively using my retail materials from 13 to 14. And then whatever is left over, I'll use them for plus 15. This takes a guide, so this is just me sharing a bit of what I'm doing. And hopefully this helps, because I don't want to give you guys so many scary rates, so many scary numbers, and don't give you guys a solution. So the solution is there. It is cheaper. So this is why I said the cost might go from 200,000 to 300,000 gold if you know what you're doing and if you don't know what you're doing. I also want to say a big thank you for Chaliia and also all the viewers that are on Discord that have been helping me with Excel. I'm looking into multiple Excels. I'm looking into a pricing calculator which will help you make so much gold. I'm really excited for that. We're looking into more rates and also more calculators for you guys for more dynamic rates and also more user-friendly simulations and also UI interface. So new Excels will be coming with better interface, better adjustment to make sure it's easy for you guys to use and to save you the most gold. And hopefully you guys enjoy this one. If you guys are great with Excel, if you're great with any of the calculations, make sure to send me a message on Discord. I will try to answer them. We'll work together to make better rates and also for the community of Lost Ark, for free-to-play players to enjoy the game without spending money and also makes a lot of gold and also saves on the tier 3 homing, which will be a big pain. You can see guys, when this happened to me, I was actually destroyed for a day. I was traumatized. I failed 9 times on my weapon and I used all my rate ups and it was so painful. So I wanted to make this video to warn you guys. Now finally, for those friends out there who want to see exactly what I did with my weapon homing and also my armor homing and also my methods, this part of the video will show you guys, a full 10-minute long of exactly what I did. So I have told you guys about impulse buying, and you're gonna see here I will be impulsively buying some of the materials because I actually didn't have enough of them prepared because I didn't know how many attempts I was expected to fail. And as I said earlier, I have been trying to get my weapon from 13 to 14 using the rate of materials that are left over. One of the reasons I'm doing this is you actually experience a better rate going from 13 to 14 with the bonus rate. Once you get to 15, the bonus rate will be much lower, and it's so much lower it's crazy. And the next video I want to talk about this as well. So in case you guys want to watch it, the full clip is over here, how much I spent, how much I homed, and all the materials I saved. So I want to show you guys fully exactly what I did, and this by far is the cheapest method for me. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, make sure you do so, because we'll be getting a lot of guides, a lot of tips as I discover them, and I love the game. So I want to share as much as I can with you guys, and let's have a great time in Lost Ark as we explore this game and get the most out of it.